All right, we'll go ahead and kick off this public meeting now. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending. Tonight's virtual public meeting outlines the drainage improvements in the Apache land subdivision. My name is Justin Tran with Fries and Nichols, supporting the Harris County Engineering Department. I will be your moderator for this evening. The drainage improvement project is brought to you by Harris County Precinct 2, Harris County Flood Control District, and the Harris County Engineering Department. Welcome and thank you for joining us virtually today as we take precautions to stay safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. For today's meeting, the Harris County Engineering Department will present the Apache land drainage improvements, followed by a Q&A session and the conclusion of this meeting. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to present Milton Rahman from Harris County Precinct 2, who will provide opening remarks. The floor is yours, Milton.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. My name is Milton Rahman. I am the Deputy Chief of Staff for Harris County Commissioner Adrian Garcia. Thank you, Engineering Department, for hosting this event. Today, we are here to talk about the Apache land subdivision and the associated drainage improvement projects. Now, this project is part of our Revive to Thrive initiative, which is focused on ensuring there are fair and equitable opportunities for communities throughout Precinct 2. And one of the main focus is to revitalize the neighborhood without gentrifying them and improving the quality of life. This $1.1 million investment in your community will reduce flood risk by getting the stormwater out to the flood control district channel by improving the existing ditches, increasing the pipe size, and adding on-site detention, which would be in form of underground detention system. In terms of the benefit, this project will help existing 34 homes for flood elevation and reduction of water surface elevation. With that said, I would now go and transfer over to Harris County Engineering Department and our program manager to talk a little more of what you can expect here in the next few months and next few days. We are very pleased to say that we are near here to start the construction very soon. I wanted to thank all of you for attending this meeting. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Milton. To give a general idea of the project, please look to the screen for a video of the drainage improvement project. There are a few notes today for tonight's meeting. All mics will be muted during the presentation. Submit all questions in the Q&A session by clicking the button as shown in the image. At the end of the presentation, our panelists will be answering your questions live. The panelists answering questions tonight include representatives from Harris County Precinct 2, Harris County Flood Control District, the Harris County Engineering Department, Binkley and Barfield, and Friesen-Nichols. We have Laura Garza, who is available to translate and answer questions in Spanish. Laura?
Un traductor de español está disponible para preguntas enviadas en español.
Any questions that do not get answered will be documented and responded at a later date. Questions can also be submitted anytime via email to recovery@eng.hctx.net. We will now begin the engineering portion of our presentation, presented by Glenn Dunlap with the Harris County Engineering Department. Glenn?
Thank you, Justin, and good evening, everybody. As Justin said, my name is Glenn Dunlap. I am the project manager representing Harris County Engineering Department, Recovery and Resiliency Division. Aaron Moore, the engineer of record, his firm is responsible for designing this project. He represents Binkley and Barfield. The purpose of this project is to improve drainage within the Apache land subdivision. The estimated cost of this project is $1.17 million. The goal of this project is to provide flood risk reduction by getting stormwater into the flood control channels more efficiently. This goal will be accomplished in 3 ways. The first will be adding 2 new detention outfall structures that drain into the flood control district channel that drain both roadside ditches. Second, we'll be regrading the roadside ditches, making them larger and making them a little smoother. Third, we'll be upsizing the driveway drainage pipes to allow more water to flow underneath the driveways. This slide here, the existing flow versus the proposed flow, is representing the benefits and how we're going to accomplish this. The existing ditch flow is represented by the thin red line. The proposed ditch flow is represented by the thick purple line. First thing you'll notice, the existing ditch flow only has 2 outfalls. The existing outfall number 2, which is a 30-inch storm drain pipe, and existing outfall number 4, which is a channel that runs from the cul-de-sac to the flood control channel. We'll be adding 2 new outfall structures, and they're represented on the bottom there, added outfall number 1 and added outfall number 3. These 2 outfall structures are going to be herbicized. And not only will they allow stormwater to flow through it, but they will also allow stormwater to temporarily be detained to help get water out of the subdivision and into these detention structures and into the channels quicker. The other thing you may have already noticed, the stormwater, like on the west end of the job around FM 1942, it has to travel over 1,670 feet to get the existing outfall number 2. That stormwater after construction will only have to go 950 foot. And if you notice, so all the other areas in there, stormwater is traveling a lot less to get to these outfall structures. Now I'm going to show you some pictures of what you expect the construction to look like out there. Stormwater pollution control, which is keeping the dirt within the construction zone from washing off, plugging up the driveway culverts and plugging up the channels. We don't want that. So in order to minimize that, we'll have temporary rock filter dams, the picture on the left there. These are some rock structures that'll be in a ditch. These structures are only temporary. As soon as we get grass to grow, we'll pull that out. The picture on the right is silt fence. This will be in areas to help prevent stormwater from in the dirt from eroding onto your property. This slide is an example of the one-way traffic control. This is how the contractor will be managing traffic throughout the work zone. They'll have construction workers known as flaggers with stop slow paddles directing traffic through the work zone. This is an example of the 2 new added outfall structures. They are these drainage detention box structures, or another name for them is reinforced concrete box culvert. These oversized boxes will detain water and The inside width of that box culvert is 6 foot and the height's 3 foot. This is an example of what the driveway pipes will look like. In this diagram, the bottom right is an example of the 2 new 6x3 concrete box culverts. These things will be placed from the south ditch to the flood control channel on the south side of the project. Then from that south ditch going to the north ditch, we'll install 3 30-inch pipes that will cross underneath Apache Lane. 2 of these will be at the new 6x3 outfall structures, and the third one's going to be replacing the 24-inch. We're going to upsize it to 30-inch to allow more stormwater to leave the site. Also, you'll notice that the ditches will be regraded. We'll be upsizing the driveway culverts. And then when we're finished all that, we will repave the driveways to the right-of-way line, or in this picture, it's represented by that fence line. The sequence of construction will start with the stormwater pollution control being installed. Silt fencing and rock filter dams will be placed out there early on. Second thing we'll do is install the 2 new outfall 6x3 detention box structures. These structures drain from the south roadside ditch to the flood control channel. After that, 30-inch drain pipes that cross Apache Lane will be installed. After those structures are installed, we'll start excavating the roadside ditches. We'll remove and replace the driveway drainage pipes. Once that is accomplished, then we will go repairing the driveways. We will replace the driveway pavement to the right-of-way line with like material. So if you have concrete paved drive, you'll get a concrete paved drive. If your driveway is asphalt, it'll be replaced with asphalt. And likewise with gravel. The final phase is the landscaping. We'll install in sod or seed, get grass to grow out there. And then we'll do our final cleanup and leave the site. This diagram is the overall construction stage. Phase 1, the red, is showing the 6x3 outfall structures. They have to go in first to allow the stormwater to leave the site. Then after that, we'll start installing the driveway culverts and excavating the ditches on the south roadside ditch, which is represented by the yellow. And then the purple represents the north ditch, which will be third. You can expect construction to be completed within 6 months on this project. Expect to hear construction noise between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. during work days. Items that are located within the right-of-way will be relocated temporarily. For example, mailboxes. The contractor will be removing your mailbox, putting it on a temporary stand and placing it away from the work where he's working. You always have access to your mailbox. Any personal property that's within the right-of-way will be removed and placed on your property to allow construction to proceed. Dump trucks and other construction trucks have to turn around within this subdivision. As you know, there's only one way in and one way out. Thus, they're going to have to turn around. So please, when you see a truck turning around, stay away from them. Give them space to get turned around. Your driveway access will be coordinated during construction by the contractor. There's 2 times when the contractor is going to have to work through your driveway, when they're installing the storm drain pipe, and then when they're doing the final pavement of your driveway. Again, the contractor will be coordinating with you to provide access at all times. You can expect construction equipment to be parked alongside the roadway. You can also expect drainage pipes and other materials to be stored alongside the roadway. 2-way traffic through this subdivision will be reduced to 1 lane during construction activities. At night, it will always be returned to 2-way traffic. Please drive slowly around construction activities. We don't want no accidents out there. And please do not park on street in areas that are under construction. This will only slow down the contractor from getting the project completed quickly. And we want that contractor to be in and out of there, you know, as quickly as possible. During Hurricane Harvey, 34 homes in this subdivision were flooded. During Imelda, there were no homes flooded. So the benefits to the community, we're going to provide flood risk reduction by getting the stormwater to the flood control district channels more efficiently or quicker. We're going to reduce ponding of stormwater in roadside ditches and on your property. The computer flood risk simulations show 34 homes benefited from this project improvements by water surface elevation reduction. The construction management team contacts are as follows. Myself, I am the project construction manager. I represent DGI Engineering Consulting. My on-site representative, the resident inspector, will be Kusam Mandi. The contractor building the project will be Marcon Services, and their on-site superintendent will be Mario Barreal.
All right, thank you, Glenn. We will now open the question and answer portion for any questions related to the drainage improvement project. As a reminder, you can submit questions in the Q&A session by clicking the button as shown in the image to be answered by our panelists. We have Laura Garza, who is available to translate and answer questions in Spanish. Laura?
Un traductor de español está disponible para preguntas enviadas en español.
Any questions that do not get answered will be documented and responded to at a later date. Questions can also be submitted anytime via email through recovery@eng.hctx.net.
Looks like we got a couple of questions. First one by Paulette Cormier. When will construction begin?
And answer that. Contractor is estimated to start mid-November this year.
We have a second question from David Martin. Will the existing outflow channels be excavated or widened? They have not been worked on in 40 years. Cedar Bayou backup also seems to be the issue as well.
Yes, that's the problem in this subdivision is they haven't maintained. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be removing the sediment, excavating, and we are widening. They're going to be a little bit wider, a little bit deeper to help with the storm drain flow.
And as of right now, those are our only two Q&A questions. Our panelists have until 7:30 p.m. tonight to answer any questions and concerns that you all might have. So please answer away, take your time, and we'll do our best to explain.
Justin, this is Benjamin Castleberry with Harris County Flood Control District. Just to add to David's question about the second point with the flooding coming up through Cedar Bayou, Harris County Flood Control District performed an advanced a flood risk reduction study of Cedar Bayou in 2018 and Q1 22, which this project ultimately drains into, and which drains into Cedar Bayou, was identified by Flood Control District as a project to where drainage improvements would help communities like this one. And right now, Flood Control District, we are performing a preliminary engineering analysis of Q1 22, that where we're going to be looking at drainage improvements that will accompany projects like this one. And that is set to be, those improvements and that recommendation are set to be complete in spring of next year of 2022. And there will be a community meeting when we get to that point. I just wanted to make sure his second question was answered, David's.
Thank you, Ben.
We have another question from Paulette Cormier. We were told that construction would be beginning many times. Are you sure this time that it will start?
It will start this time. We already let the project. We got a contractor on board with a contract and we're starting the process.
And then we have a comment or a question from David Martin just saying, yes, you answered it concerning the outflow channels. I think that's towards Benjamin Castleberry.
This is Brock Krennick with Harris County RRD. And just to follow up, the county and the precinct, we've been working hard to get everything set up, and this project will be moving forward as scheduled in mid-November to be completed 6 months later.
And also a quick reminder, if you don't have any questions at this time, but something arises later, you can always contact us anytime via email at recovery@eng.hctx.net. All right, and we've got a question from Paulette Cormier. So it should be finished before the next hurricane season, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Within 6 months after we get started.
We have another question from Michael Dawson. We've lived here for 40 years and have to fight the county yearly to clean the channels at the cul-de-sac.
And that's one of the purposes of this job, is to get these ditches cleaned up so they'll drain more efficiently from here on out.
Question from Michael Dawson. I understand, but will they be cleaned annually without hassle?
I don't think we have anybody from maintenance with Harris County on here, so that's the question we'll have to get back with you on.
Once the project is completed, then we will work with the precinct to set up proper maintenance. That'll be set up with the precinct's maintenance crews.
Another question from Paulette Cormier. Can I ask why it's taken so long for this to happen?
Hey, this is Marcus Baskin with RRD as well. Can you all hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, great. That's a good question too. I know it's a common question, but I think one of the things as a resident to kind of understand the process, And I'm a division manager here with the Recovery and Resiliency Division. So I was with this project basically from the beginning at the planning level. But one of the things to understand is one of the major items for Apache is the right-of-way acquisition. That normally is what takes, or is the critical path, as we like to say, to get the project moving and to keep things going. And we can't start without acquisition of a piece of property that's needed for drainage flow to benefit you as a community. So that's one of the reasons why it took a little longer to get that going, and with us adding 2 additional outfalls as it was presented, and having to acquire that legally to be able to improve the area is what mainly took most of the time. So.
Another question from Paulette Cormier. Again, could you please go over what size pipe that will be going in for the driveways?
Most of the storm drain pipes are going to be these 24-inch diameter concrete pipes.
Yeah, just to elaborate a little bit more on what Glenn just said, the standard minimum that we're going with is 24-inch. As you get closer to the outfalls, the pipes will get a little bit larger to get to the outfalls. But most of them within the design are 24-inch or 2 feet diameter. Just want to make sure too, this is Brock Krennick with RD. Y'all can't hear me, right? I've been answering a handful of questions. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
We got a question from Paulette Cormier. Which end will they start on?
It's going to be in the middle. There's two outfall structures that will be crossing a couple of the private property that we've gotten easements with. They'll be installed first, and then they'll just be working from those headed east or west.
Hey, Glenn, could you have them pull up the site plan and the presentation for visual and kind of go over that one more time?
Yeah.
I mean, it might be easier to show.
Yeah, go back to that construction phasing. Good, really, there you go. One more. Next one, that one right there. The first thing that the contractor is going to do is those two red lines that are the vertical red lines. That's the 6x3 outfall structures. Those have to go in first because that's where most of the water is going to be leaving the site. So in storm drain construction, you start downstream and then work your way up. So once they got those installed, then they'll start on the roadside ditches going east and west. So they'll kind of be jumping all over the place on that south ditch to get it in there based on that where those outfall structures are. So it won't be nice and neat where they start on one end and proceed to the other. So we always got to maintain drainage. So we'll be starting from that structure and working uphill.
And follow-up question, when you start on ditches, which end will you start?
I believe that answered that in the last.
All right, again, we have until 7:30 to answer questions, but it appears that there aren't too many outstanding questions. We'll just start a last call for questions before we move to conclude the public meeting. And also, I'd just like to reiterate that any unanswered question will be noted and answered at a later date. You can you can ask any questions you want to recovery at eng.hctx.net.
And Justin, can you explain the availability of this recording? And
Yes, sir. Yep, I'll move to that right now, actually. Well, with that, this wraps up the Q&A portion of our meeting. We will gladly answer questions you may have regarding the Apache Land Drainage Improvements Project. We invite you to contact us at any time via email at recovery@eng.hctx.net. A link to tonight's presentation will be posted in the near future to the Harris County website at the link shown on the screen. That's hcfcd.org/SDP. This concludes our virtual public meeting. On behalf of Harris County, thank you for joining us virtually this evening as we take precautions to stay safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. We thank you for all your thoughtful questions, and take care and have a wonderful day.